Do you ever find yourself getting sucked into gaming, even though really you know you should be studying? Just a quick 5-minute games turn into hours and it can feel really bad. But what if I told you that you can actually trick your brain to get addicted to studying instead of gaming? But first, we need to know the secret that game makers use to get us hooked. So I spent the last 3 days researching the mechanics of one of the most popular online games of all time, League of Legends. Like this video if you've played this before. So why is League of Legends so popular? And I swear, 80% of the time, people in League are just raging and complaining how they have to carry their teammates every time. So why do people go back again and again? To understand this, we need to see how the brain works and how your brain gets addicted to League of Legends. Well, addiction is actually a really complicated process, but in simple terms, this is what is going on. When you do something really pleasurable, like completely outplaying your opponents or doing like a triple kill, it activates your reward pathway. The dopamine in your brain gets released and you feel amazing, like you're on top of the world. The hippocampus and the amygdala record all the details of this experience, how good it was and why. And that, my friend, is how you get hooked. Your brain then creates a shortcut for the future and it says, oh my gosh guys, that felt so good, let's play League again. And as your plays get better and better, the more pleasurable it gets. And that's why you want to play more. And there are 3 elements that game makers use to make League of Legends and a lot of other online games super addictive. And I have incorporated these into my study routine way before medical school. And I swear by them. I use them even today as I study for MRCP as a doctor. Let's get into them now. Number 1, winning is hard, but it's also easy. Think about when you're playing game. You always have a clear goal to win, right? You know the exact task that you need to do to complete that quest. And that's the easy part because the path is intentional and it's straightforward. To win in League, you just need to destroy your opponent's towers. Yet it's still a challenging goal. This is what makes the game even better. The more effort you put into the game, the higher the emotional investment that you have towards the goal. So when you do win, there is a greater sense of achievement, greater pleasure, and therefore more dopamine release. In our learning today, our education system is laid out in a way that never tells you, hey, don't worry, mate, you're going in the right direction. It's always just do this task, do this exam, do this test, no questions asked. It's like you're getting told to kill those minions in League every single time. That's why it's hard to relate studying to what's already going on in your life. This is why you need to know your why. Find your reasons for learning and give it an epic meaning. According to Chou, says that epic meaning is the drive where people are motivated because they believe they're engaged in something that is bigger than themselves. So your why can't just be, oh yeah, I gotta study that test because I need to pass. That's not enough. You've gotta give it intention. Make it big. Make it super clear to yourself. It also needs to be challenging, so then there is that emotional investment to it as well. It needs to be so that when you achieve that goal, it's a big win. But if you fail the goal, it's also a big loss to you. So I asked myself, why do I want to study tonight? I'm literally traveling a whole year throughout Asia. I'm not even working as a doctor this year. So why the heck do I have to study? Well, that's because I want to pass the MRCP exam. Why? Because I want to be the best doctor possible for my patients. And what works even better is when you remember your pain point. What happens if you don't study? If I don't study, I will be a crap doctor that my patients don't trust. I will be that doctor that my peers, my juniors, and my bosses don't trust because they think I'm dumb for not knowing this knowledge that I can study right now. So then it becomes pretty clear to me like, that's why I need to study. I just have so much to win and so much to lose if I don't study. Now, this is the second element that makes gaming so addictive. Games come with high rewards and it's super competitive. Games often have these built-in reward system, points, levels, achievements that provide your instant gratification. And in League of Legends, since it's a team game, not only does your team count on you to get your place right, but also at the same time, you're versing 5 other team players on the opposing team in order to win. So it's very competitive. But because there's more at stake, when you do get that reward, you feel a lot more accomplished, more satisfied, and there's more dopamine and release, so naturally you go back for more. Back when I was 10 years old, my parents sent me to cram school that only the top students attended. I went from an average student playing Club Penguin every single day after school to the top student in my whole school after just a few months. Why? Because these Asian cram school knew exactly what they're doing. They knew how to manipulate 10-year-olds with rewards. So whenever I came top 3 in my class, I would get rewarded with prizes in front of everybody, in front of all of my friends. They were things like glitter pens or those the most popular mechanical pens at the time, and that was Dr. Grip, the shaker pen. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Or am I too much of a boomer right now? Anyway, those pens costed $10, so my Asian parents didn't want to get me those because they're too expensive. But we also got punished too if we didn't make it to the top. I still remember when I came 3rd and I had to get 2 cans because I lost my position from number 1. I remember this vividly because of how embarrassed I felt seeing all my classmates watching me getting caned. So there was a lot of accountability there, making me to want to keep getting better so I don't have to get caned in front of everyone and I can get glitter pens instead. It's no longer ethical these days, but as you can see, external motivators and positive reinforcement works like magic. You can rewire your brain to think that studying can be very, very rewarding. Now, how can you do this practically and ethically in your study routine? Now, schedule something fun that you've been wanting to do all week, all month at the end of your study session. This could be allowing yourself to see the newest episode of Jujutsu Kaisen after your study session, or whatever that dopamine boost might be for you. Or make your Asian parents buy you the latest iPad if you get straight A's in your next exam. Just tell them that all top students have it and they study much better with it. Trust me, this works all the time. You can thank me later. To make the system even more effective, you need competition. You gotta surround yourself with the highest quality crop there is. Make friends with the smart kids. Trust me, you'll benefit from it because you are the top 5 people that you hang out with. And I think I'm a pretty good example of that. When you have healthy competitors, you want to improve yourself to get on their level, or even better, you want to outdo them. So instead of wanting to go online onto your games to compete, you'll find that you want to up your own study game so that you can improve and don't get left behind by your own friends. And if you don't believe me, try sitting yourself next to the top student in your class in the library while they're studying. Go play a game. It'll feel like a sin. It works so well because peer pressure is honestly the most powerful tool that people in the Gen Z generation and even millennials can use to improve your own study game. The third element that makes gaming so addictive is that you can clearly see that you're improving in the game. That's because you're always able to see your exact progression in the game, your health, your stats, how far you are actually from leveling up. It feels like you're always in full control of the game. Whereas when you're studying for an exam, it's not as clear-cut. You just don't know how far away you are from getting that A+. I know it can feel pretty aimless. It can feel like you're just studying for the sake of studying and just hoping for the best. But the truth is, you can easily track your progression while you're studying. And here's how to do it. Number 1, testing, and number 2, feedback. There are actually a few ways that you can test yourself to see how well you're going to do in your next test. The first one is using common quiz apps, things like Anki, Quizlet, or Past Medicine if you're in medicine. These are really good apps that can track how well you're doing in a certain subject. The second one is actually one of my favorite, is doing mind maps. So what you do is you close all your books, all your notes, sit down with a blank piece of paper and draw out every single thing that you know on that one subject. And then later on, you can go and see where your gaps are in your knowledge and how well you can connect different concepts together, because that is where you score the most points in exams. And then you can go and do past exam papers on the subject that you've already learned about. Then after you've done all of those things, you can clearly see what are the things that you need to focus on so you can get 10 out of 10 in that next test. Number 2 is to ask for feedback. As a doctor, it's very clear to us whether or not we're on the right track. And no, that's not because we know exactly what the hell we're doing, because I don't. Rather, we have very structured guidance from our attending or consultant 3 times every quarter. Once at the very beginning to tell us what the expectations are, and then in the middle of it to see how we're going, what we need to improve on, and then at the very end, we get feedback from how it's all been working 3 months with them. And later on, we take all of this feedback, all of this EXP, and we move on to the next rotation to become better junior doctors. You know, they give us direct feedback on things that we need to improve on and things that we're already doing well, and that's what makes us better doctors. In education, unfortunately, there is no real mentorship or any guidance whatsoever, which makes it really hard, especially when you're first starting out. So you've got to create this for yourself proactively. Your teachers and your professors are the best source of feedback for you. Every time you get your test papers back, do not settle with your grade. Maybe you got 69% on your essay. Go up to your teacher and ask, what is it going to take to get that 1% improvement so that it can take you from a grade D to a grade C? And you're feeling a bit too shy, too intimidated, then go ask the smartest kid in class. And if you're already following my tips, hopefully you guys are already best friends. Or you can compare your answers with the marking scheme with the model answers. That's the gold standard. Look, even if it's just 1% improvement each time, James Clear from Atomic Habits states that if you can get 1% better each day for a year consistently, you'll end up 37 times better than you are today. So make sure you check out this video next to learn my secret of how I became that student who gets straight A every single time.